Hi, this is Jen Barney from the Toasty Meringue. This week at the restaurant, I started making a pumpkin bread pudding, and we've been getting a great response back from it. And it's such a great recipe, I'm really proud of it, and I want to share with you how simple it is, and it's a great addition for any seasonal fall baking. And here it is. So we're going to start off with an oatmeal crumb topping. So it starts off with a half a cup of butter, a half a cup of dark brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 1/2 a cup of flour, and another half a cup of any type of oats. And I'm going to add another pinch of salt in there too. I always like to add that little bit of salt. So I'm just melting this butter, I'm putting it in a bowl, and I'm just mixing it up with a fork until it resembles nice big crumbles. And then I'm going to set it aside. The filling is just as easy to make. It's going to start off with 14 to 15 ounces of pureed pumpkin. I'm using canned pumpkin. You can use fresh as well. It also has 3/4 cups of dark brown sugar, 3/4 cups of milk, 2 tablespoons or more of pumpkin spice, 3 eggs, and vanilla and salt to taste. In baking, you have to be very precise, but for this recipe, it's very flexible. So if you don't have quite enough milk, quite enough pumpkin, quite enough eggs, you can just kind of make it work. This recipe is extremely flexible in that aspect. I will talk just a little bit about this dark brown sugar. It's one of my favorites. It's from a company called Wholesome, and it's organic dark brown sugar. And it does make a difference in my baking, and I do love this product. If you do have a chance to pick up this dark brown sugar, I would recommend it over the traditional regular dark brown sugar. For the bread, I have day-old croissants. You can use any type of bread here, but what I've done is I've dried out these breadcrumbs. So I put these in an oven and I've let them dry out at a low temperature for about a half an hour. I'm looking for bread that is crunchy on the outside, and there is a reason for that, because when you put in your pudding filling, you want it to totally absorb, and that bread, the drier it is, the more it can be like a sponge and absorb all that liquid. Once I pour that pumpkin into the container, I'm going to let it sit in the refrigerator for at least a couple hours. If you have the time, I would recommend leaving it in there overnight. That way all that juice can just get totally into that bread, and it's going to be a lot more absorbed, a lot better all the way throughout. I've let this bread pudding sit overnight, and now here's another top secret that I like to do with my bread puddings is I take some heavy cream and I drizzle it over the top. So if your bread pudding was not moist and delicious and, let's be honest, fatty enough to start with, now we can add even more moisture, that little extra fat content that makes it so much more buttery and better. I add that to the top, and then I'm going to come back to that crumble and evenly distribute that crumble over the top. When I put my bread puddings into an oven, I like to do it at a low temperature. So we're talking about 300 degrees, and I also like to put tin foil over the top of it for the first part of the bake. So I'm going to check it. You know bread pudding is done when it's at 180 degrees. If you want to brown the top of the bread pudding more, towards the end of its bake cycle, just take off that tin foil and let that top kind of caramelize and brown, which would probably be the last 10 minutes or so of the baking. If this bread pudding wasn't amazing already, we're going to make a butterscotch sauce to put on the top of it. This butterscotch sauce I use all the time in the kitchen. It's super flexible, and you can use it for many applications, and it's so simple to make. We've got 1 cup of heavy cream, 1 cup of that organic dark brown sugar, 1/4 cup of unsalted butter, and then I'm going to add my own salt to taste and my own vanilla to taste. I usually give it a very generous amount of vanilla, maybe about 2 to 3 whole tablespoons, but you can taste it yourself and adjust it from there. So I'm going to put that over a stovetop and just let it come together until it starts to boil. And this it will keep refrigerated for several weeks. So this is a great thing to make in bulk, and you can use it for things like ice creams and other toppings. Thank you for taking the time to learn how to make our pumpkin bread pudding. I hope I've inspired you to make this for your family and friends. As always, please feel free to leave us feedback and look at our other baking adventures on thetoastymeringue.com. Take care. Thank you.